Welcome to Friends and Fiction. 4 New York Times bestselling authors, endless stories. Novelists Mary Kay Andrews, Kristin Harmel, Kristy Woodson Harvey, and Patti Callahan Henry are 4 longtime friends with more than 70 published books between them. Together, they host Friends and Fiction, with author interviews and fascinating insider talk about publishing and writing, to highlight and support independent bookstores. They discuss the books they've written, the books they're reading now, and the art of storytelling. If you love books and you're curious about the writing world, you're in the right place.
Hello, Friends and Fiction friends. Kristy Woodson Harvey here. I am so excited for the show that you are about to watch with our good friend, Elin Hilderbrand, and her daughter, Shelby Cunningham, who are the co-authors of The Academy, which I'm sure many of you know, and the sequel, The Thoroughbreds, which is just a couple of weeks from releasing. I cannot wait for this amazing follow-up. I'm so excited to see it. And if you're like me and you read The Academy, you've probably been wondering for a year, what is in that email? And we get to find out really soon. So revisit The Academy with Elin and Shelby before you read The Thoroughbreds, and I hope you enjoy this one as much as we did.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Friends and Fiction Show. I'm Kristy Woodson Harvey.
I'm Kristin Harmel.
And I'm Mary Kay Andrews.
And Patti Callahan Henry cannot join us tonight because, wait, should I say why?
Yes, you should.
She is with my boyfriend, James Taylor, this evening. I was there last week, so very exciting things. But this is Friends and Fiction, 4 New York Times bestselling authors, endless stories to support independent bookstores, authors, and librarians.
If you are not with us already, we do hope you will join our Facebook group, which is nearly 300,000 members strong. We would also like to invite you to follow us on Instagram and YouTube and to subscribe to our Substack newsletter, which is absolutely full of awesome bonus content. You can find out more about our community and all we have to offer at friendsandfiction.com. But before we get started with tonight's show, I believe MKA has a cover reveal for us.
So excited.
Yes, some of you may have seen it online already. I was fortunate enough that People magazine revealed the cover for my summer 2026 novel Road Trip yesterday. And lots of bookstagrammers have very sweetly shared it all over Instagram today. But if you have not had the pleasure, here it is in all its glory. Sean, will you please play the fun little animated cover reveal that St. Martin's Press made for me?
I'm so excited.
Cheers. Will just brought me some champagne. I think it was to toast to your cover reveal. So cheers to you.
I got nothing. I'm just kind of bummed about that. Anyway, Road Trip will be in stores on June 2nd, 2026, but it's available for pre-order now. And you know what we say, hashtag pre-order my book now, damn it. I know that was a lot. Meg's going to share the pre-order link in the comments. And of course, I would love it if you would hashtag buy my book, damn it.
Absolutely. Who wouldn't, especially with a cover like that? I cannot wait for this one. I'm so excited. Counting down the days.
Thank you.
Okay, so now on with the show. Tonight we are welcoming our friends Elin Hilderbrand and Shelby Cunningham to discuss their fabulous new novel, our Friends and Fiction September 2025 pick of the month, The Academy, which is set to be released on September 16th. So remember that we are live tonight, so be sure to drop any questions that you would like to ask our guests in the comments. So before we bring them on, we're going to tell you a little bit about them.
Elin is the author of 31 novels, including The Academy, which is the first book she has co-written with her daughter, Shelby Cunningham. Elin is a, am I supposed to keep saying this?
Yep, you keep going, girl.
Okay, all right. She's a proud, I try not to be a bio hog. Elin is a proud 1991 graduate of Johns Hopkins University, where she majored in writing seminars. After a short stint in publishing and teaching in New York City, she moved to Nantucket permanently in 1994. She attended the University of Iowa Writers Workshop and earned her MFA in 1998. And she published her first novel, The Beach Club, in the summer of 2000. She is the co-host of the podcast Books, Beach, and Beyond, along with our friend, Tim Talks Books creator, Tim Ehrenberg. She's raising 4 young adult children and likes to spend her free time at the beach and on her Peloton. And she is a grateful 10-year breast cancer survivor.
Oh man, 10 years. That's really something to be proud of. That's amazing. So Ellen's daughter, Shelby Cunningham, was born and raised on Nantucket Island. She is a 2024 graduate of St. George's School in Middletown, Rhode Island. She's presently a student at the University of Miami in Coral Gables. Their new co-written novel, The Academy, is set to be released this coming Tuesday, September 16th, and it tells the irresistible, deliciously scandalous story of one drama-filled year at a New England boarding school.
All right, Sean, can you bring Ellen and Shelby on?
Hey.
Hi, guys.
Hi, ladies.
Hi. Hello.
Welcome to Friends in Fiction. We're so glad to have you guys here tonight.
Thank you for having us. I've missed you guys.
We missed you.
Long. All right. So ordinarily we do a little chat before we bring the guests on, but for this particular chat, we were like, Ellen and Shelby absolutely have to be here to chime in on this because we just really wanted to hear their answers. So my son is almost 14 and has read 2 of my books, but from the time he was very small, he's like listened to bits and pieces, chapters here and there, mostly with his dad, who loves an audiobook. And I will never forget him being like 4 years old. And we were listening to Slightly South of Simple, and he chimes in from the back, Mom, Ansley is just like BB, which is what he calls my grandmother, which was so funny because it was so true. Like that character is so much like my mom. So ever since then, that was like my first memory of being like, oh, wow, I have to be really careful what I write because he's going to know. And so I love like when people in our families can pick out those little scenes of like, I remember that, or I know who that's really about. So Shelby, we're going to start with you. Is there anything that stands out to you that you remember reading in one of your mom's novels that you were like, I recognize that, and she's trying to speak?
Yeah, I think that happens all the time. Just read the Paradise series. And it's interesting because when I read it and I like read the things, I can tell when it was that she wrote it. Yeah. So I just read the Paradise series, and she was writing about Maya, the young daughter, and how her and her best friend Joni have a bath bomb business, which my best friend's name is Joan, and we had a bath bomb business. So it happens all the time. I think Golden Girls especially, that's like literally our family. Okay. And so reading that one was really interesting. I won't spoil anything, but it was very easy to see who was who.
No. Interesting. All right. So MKA, Katie and Andy grew up with a writer mom. Did they ever have these like moments of recognition?
Andy, being a boy, had no interest in reading my books except for pimping me out to girls. Like, hey, my mom's a writer. Yeah. My mom's a writer. You want a free book?
Yeah.
And I think, there was a scene in one of my books, I forget which one it is, where it's a pretty disastrous Christmas dinner scene. I think it was maybe in Blue Christmas, and that actually happened, a variation of it in our family. And my kids both went, "Yeah, we remember when that happened."
I love that. So, do y'all ever like a dinner party or something, and people are like, "Be careful what you say. You can be in a book."
Oh yeah, people say that all the time, and then I always have to say, but the thing is, you guys are not that interesting. So
Exactly right. All right. So Kristin, I know that Noah's a little younger, so he probably has not experienced your novels yet, especially because since you write, historicals and this sort of your subject matter might not be like totally age appropriate for him. But I'm wondering, is there a book of yours that you're most excited for him to read when he's old enough?
I have 2 young adult novels, When You Wish and After, which are for ages 12 and up. So he's almost there. Like he's 9.
Oh, yeah.
And I just don't think he'd be interested in them. Like they both skew a little bit more female.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose one of the books from my historical fiction career, which has been like the last 15 years or so, it would probably be The Sweetness of Forgetting, which was my first historical novel. And the reason I think it would mean so much to me to have him read that one is it's about a woman and her grandmother. And I was writing it as I was losing my own grandmother to dementia. So it's not my grandmother in the book, but there's so much of the spirit of our relationship in there. And Noah never got to know her. So I feel like if he reads that book, there would be a little meeting of like him and my grandmother within those pages. If that makes any sense.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
All right, Ellen, you're up. And you're an interesting one to answer this question because I don't know if your son's read your books.
So Dawson Cunningham, my middle child, has read 0.
Okay.
None. Not one. Max has read, and ditto Alex. I don't think Alex means to read them, but I don't think he has read them yet.
Uh-huh.
Max, my oldest, has read, what has Max read, Shell? He's read The Blue Bistro.
He read Golden Girl, I think, too.
He read Golden Girl. I think that's it. I think he's just read The Blue Bistro and Golden Girl.
Okay.
The thing I want to talk about is there is a scene in my novel, The Identicals, where, okay, so as you know, I go to St. John in the spring for like 5 weeks. And it must have been 2016. I was in St. John and my house here on Nantucket was empty. Now I'm divorced and my ex-husband and I are dear, dear friends. And so he would take care of the kids while I was in St. John. And Max was on the varsity baseball team, Nantucket High School. And he threw a party here at my house, telling his dad he was going to a party at one of the other players' homes. But in fact, it was here. And I had just bought the house and I inherited with the house something called a Stephen Swift dining room table. So on Nantucket, Stephen Swift was a master furniture maker, and this dining room table is gorgeous. And again, I bought it with the house, and they played beer pong on my Stephen Swift dining room table. And so in my novel, The Identicals, it's a girl, but there is a scene where a teenager has a party at her mother's house and the kids play beer pong on her Stephen Swift dining room table. So that was straight to the pages. And he has not read that, but I use the kids all the time. Why wouldn't I? I mean, it's constant stories, constant.
It's like a fun time capsule too, like to be able to look back and be like, oh, this was happening. Like that's one of my favorite things is to be able to go back in a book and be like, oh my gosh, I remember like where I was or what was happening when I was writing the book.
I feel like sometimes you put stuff in a book that you don't even realize is part of that time capsule. And it's only when you read it later and you're like, oh my God, I was wrestling with such and such at that time, or this, I wrote this because of this. Yeah.
Right. I find that you guys must find that too. I find that all the time. Like I reread my novel, The Castaways, before I wrote Swan Song. And the things about the kids' childhood, like when the kids were little that I had in there, I'm like, I completely forgot about those things. Yeah. But fascinating.
And sometimes like memories will pop up for me too, that like it's not something I'm like consciously remembering, but I'm writing and there's like something that pops up and I'm like, oh, that's so fun. I'd forgotten about that. I'm going to put it in the book.
I love that. I feel like we're scrapbooking with words.
Yeah. I wrote a book called Heart Trouble, and in it, my character Callahan's mother, Edna, has a heart attack and drives herself to the hospital, to the emergency room, and says, I'm having a heart attack. Well, my mother did that. And when I was writing that scene, I remember so vividly sitting on the window seat of our dining room in our old house. And when I was writing the scene with Edna, experiencing the chest pain, and, you know, I was curled up in a ball because I was remembering, you know, the sheer terror of that experience. As, you know, I'm in Atlanta and my mother's in St. Pete driving herself to the hospital announcing, I'm having a heart attack.
Oh my gosh, crazy. Awful.
Well, ladies, we are going to head on to this amazing book. So I devoured The Academy and loved every single juicy second. So you follow Tiffin Academy students and staff over a school year filled with romance, friendship woes, and a new app that is outing everyone's secrets. And we are not just talking about the students here. The teachers are at the center of almost as much drama as the students are. So as the school year begins, Tiffin Academy has just jumped to the second spot in the rankings, a 17-spot jump, which if you're not familiar with the boarding school world, like that's a pretty big deal. And people really are, these rankings are important. So this puts them squarely in the spotlight of the boarding school community. It's sort of the worst possible time when they're recovering from this big tragedy. So throughout the pages, secrets come to light that will change every single character's life and draw to a thrilling conclusion that has us clamoring for book 2. So yeah, I'm going to need that as soon as y'all are finished. All right. So Shelby, did I miss anything? Is that kind of what the book is about?
Yeah, you totally got it.
I think I did well. Okay. All right. So Ellen, can you tell us what the book is really about?
So what is the book really about? I mean, I think it's about, one of the things that we were after was to create I feel like every generation has their boarding school novel, right? So like a separate piece.
Yep.
Catcher in the Rye.
Yep.
And then you move on to Prep by Curtis Sittenfeld, one of my dear friends, wrote a great novel, Prep. And then, of course, you have Harry Potter, right? And so every generation has their boarding school novel. And Shelby and I, when Shelby went to boarding school in 2021, there were so many stories that she was calling home to tell me that I said to her, we have to write a novel about this. And so we started like collecting her stories and creating a world. But I think it's really about its coming of age as a Gen Z person in the 2020s, right? That's what it's really about. It's really about what is growing up like now. What is the boarding school experience like now?
Love that.
So Shelby, we are so excited for you. I mean, this is your debut novel. This is amazing. This is just awesome. So your mom just talked a little bit about how the idea for this kind of kicked off when you were in boarding school. You were collecting these ideas. Can you tell us a little bit more about the genesis of this? Like, did you actually believe this was going to happen? Was it always your intention to write this book, or was it just kind of something that was a fun thing to do in the meantime, and you were thinking it was never really going to come to pass?
Yeah, the second one. I didn't know. I talked about it. I told her stories every single day, and she was like, this is just, we joke all the time. Everything I tell her is straight to the pages. So I call her all the time, and she was like, this needs to be a book. And I'm like, yeah, like you write those all the time. But then it really like picked up really quickly. It was all in like 4 months that all of a sudden I was like signing a contract when I was like 17, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is real.
Wow.
So
cool. That's incredible. All right. So Ellen, we imagine that writing with your daughter was a dream come true, especially because you had this idea when she was still in boarding school. Can you talk us through the brass tacks here? How did this collaboration work in a practical sense?
So I really needed, and I'm Gen X and solidly Gen X, and Shelby is obviously solidly Gen Z. And there's a big gulf there. And anybody who's watching this who has children, whether they be millennials or Gen Z, is like, there is a big gulf. And so I needed her, not only her lived experience, but also the way the kids speak, the things the kids are listening to, the things that they're doing, the things that they're saying, the way that relationships work, because relationships do not work the way they did when we were in high school. It's all totally different. And so it was so much fun because Shelby and I devised the characters. We came up with the students together and like got their backstories and how they were going to be intertwined, and sort of did some of our arcs. And then I handled the adult characters, and Shelby wrote scenes with the students, the student characters. And then I edited her and she edited me big time. And the thing that she kept saying is like, you're such a boomer. No one my age would ever say this. Like in my okay, thank you.
True.
Oh, that's amazing. All right. So it sounds like this was really fun, but sometimes there are little things, like little hitches in a collaboration like this, right? So were there any pieces of the book that you did not see eye to eye on? And how did you find the compromise?
Shell?
I don't think so. Do you?
No, I mean, we were pretty good. I mean, I was very definitively in charge of the narrative structure, the plot twist. You have to be, and everybody will understand this, you have to be a fairly accomplished novel writer to know what you're doing. And, Shelby was just sort of like, okay, like really trusted me with that. But in the details, in the specificity of what was happening, that was where Shelby really contributed. And there were, she sent me these notes, and they're brutal. They're like, no, just like line after line, nope. And you have to, I have to honor that, because what do I know? Right. So I think that I wouldn't call it like, it wasn't friction. It was just like, okay, like you have to swallow the pill that you do not know how to speak like a 17-year-old. Now,
Awesome.
Well, and things change, which is concern. Like Will was reading Beach House Rules, and I have a teenage character, and there were a couple of things that I got like from his friend, like from girls that were friends of his, and they like actually helped me with it. And he was like, "Oh my God, that feels so dated now." And I'm like, "Well, I can't help it. Like I wrote it a year ago. Like that's not my fault. I'm sorry."
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like even we started writing this. Let's see, Shell. I think it was January of 23, which is now 2.5 years. It's coming out 2.5 years later. So some of the like the movie, like the TV and the movie, like you can't keep it current. There's just no possibility of doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it felt very current, but what do I know? So,
Totally. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, as being a real boomer, all I know is that every utterance I make is cringe. So
Cringe. So, it's so cringe.
I breathe. My breath is cringe. Everything about me is cringe.
Me too. Yeah.
All right, ladies. So something really great that you two did in this book. You talked about a lot of books. We're in high school in this book, of course, but so there's a lot of reading going on. But also Charlie, one of the protagonists, did a lot of reading for fun. Now, did you guys choose these books for a specific reason, or were they random, or how'd that happen?
I can only remember a book for like half a day after I finish it. I don't know. My retention is really bad. But so I used books that I had recently read. We also used all of Shelby's syllabi. So her syllabus from history, we used her syllabus from her junior year English class.
Cool.
We used her syllabus. They actually taught a boarding school lit class at St. George's. So we had all of these syllabi, and we pulled books off the syllabus. And Shelby, like a lot of real time, Shelby would be doing a paper on a book, and then it would go into the novel.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, now Shelby, did you have a book from boarding school from your years for you personally that you found was particularly formative?
Yeah, well, my mom already mentioned it, but a separate piece is sort of my entire junior year. We had an American Studies English class. It was like one of the hardest classes I've ever taken. And at the end, it wasn't like a thesis, obviously, but it was like a big, like a year, like we've been practicing for it, paper. And I wrote it on a separate piece. And so since that was like about boarding school, I thought that was super formative.
How about you, Ellen? Is there one book from your high school experience that sort of has traveled with you and stayed?
I mean, I love J.D. Salinger, and so Franny and Zoe is my all-time favorite book, and I read it in high school, and it really resonated with me. I also had a copy of the Cheever stories. In fact, I have it here in my study, and there is a note from my high school boyfriend that I keep inside my Cheever stories. That's how I know that it's like so authentic.
So
Show it to you. I'm not gonna be able to find it on the fly, but it's unbelievable that I still have this. Yeah.
That's cute.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so this is a question for both of you. So we'll start with Shelby because she probably has a little bit more to say about this. But Shelby, what in your own high school experience inspired this novel?
So many things. People always ask, like, am I in the book? And the answer is no. But a lot of the events and like the school play, first dance, and then some of like the drama, obviously, is in it, but no specific people.
So is the first dance when everybody wears something specific, like when every class wears something specific? Is that from your experience? Because I thought that was very interesting.
Yes, and like to a T, like the exact outfits. We describe them in depth in the novel. And that's like exactly what I wore, like getting ready. It's all the same music. It was very much my experience.
Yeah. So that was the first thing Shelby wrote was when Dobby and the girls are getting ready in the bathroom and Charlie's not going to first dance. And they send her down to the end of the hall to be like, see what's up with this chick. But the outfits that they wear are so strange. And like, who invented these like, this is what I would know. Who decided on these outfits? Right. And like, did it start with the dawn of Instagram, or like, when did wearing like all the class, and then how do you, if you're a girl, it's only the girls, you guys. Yeah. So just the girls have these very specific, like the freshmen wear these tie-dye, is it tie-dye?
It's like tie-dye shirts with little metallic mini shorts. And then
the sophomores
wear like metallic also, like, but like full body. Juniors wear these like nylon tight, like you get them from like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like stripper websites.
You
like,
can say that. You can say anything you want.
And then it's like a net, and then you put it over. It's very like you double layer, but it's like looks like a stress ball almost. That's like what we call it, because it's like as if like. And then seniors wear all black.
Oh my gosh.
And with whistles, but you have to have the whistle.
Yeah, senior year you have the whistle. They actually banned them this year. Thank God I got out of that. Yeah, not surprising, but yeah, you have to have the whistle.
Wow.
Well, that was, yeah. So the outfits are very specific. So we
Okay.
like that all went straight to the pages. Straight to the pages.
I love that. What about the setting? I felt like the setting, like I could so clearly visualize what this school looked like, what the town around the school looked like. Was that a little bit from your imagination, or was that very based on reality too?
I mean, it was we very intentionally. So St. George's, where Shelby went, is on the ocean.
Okay.
And we in Rhode Island, we very intentionally moved the school to the northeast corner of Massachusetts, near the Vermont and New York border. And I did that just so that we didn't get sued, essentially.
Okay. Oh,
But we did use the exact chapel. So St. George's has this gorgeous Gothic chapel. I mean,
okay.
gorgeous. And so we used the chapel, and then we used like a bunch of different of the same names of like the schoolhouse is where Shelby had class, and that's where the kids have class here. But Tiffin and Shelby and I created this together, is an old horse farm. And so everything has like has an equestrian meaning. So it's like the Tiffin thoroughbreds, and then the paddock is where they eat, and the bridle is their code of conduct. And so everything is sort of equestrian themed at Tiffin.
Oh, I love that. And now, Ellen, going back to high school inspirations for this, were there pieces of your own high school experience that inspired the novel?
Kind of. I mean, Charlie is a real bookworm, like a nerdy bookworm, and that was me. That was not Shelby. Shelby
That was
was
not me. That's definitely
not a nerdy bookworm, but I was, and I had glasses, and I read all the time, and was very interested in like having like a literary life. And so I think I channeled a little bit of my own self into Charlie, because she is such a nerd. She gets better as the year goes on. I did not get any better.
I love Charlie. She was such a good character. They're all such good characters. Like you know them all. They're like such good, like vivid, well-drawn characters. Okay, so I know that every generation has its own vernacular, but I feel like this generation's is sort of next level. Like everything has a slang term. It's like hard to keep up with. So I thought you guys did a really, really great job. And I think it sounds like a lot of this is owed to Shelby, but you did a really great job of balancing the voices and making them sound like teenagers, but not putting in like so much of the slang that, you know, in 3 years, we're going to be like, oh, that doesn't hold up. So how did you walk that line? And was that hard? Or was it just natural?
As you mentioned earlier, like a slang word is in for like a week and then it's not. So yeah. I like know that, and I sort of tried to like stay with things that I've been saying, my friends have been saying for like years, so that it's not as like, you know, and I just tried to tell her that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a lot of slang in there that I thought was current that Shelby cut. She was like, no, this is no, you do not.
I think one thing I have to clarify, so many people, the one thing everyone has been asking me about is when you like leave someone on red.
Yeah.
That's like on Snapchat. So we all use Snapchat. Like people don't really use iMessage, especially in high school. And when you leave someone red, it's like you open their photo or you open your text and it will tell them that. It's not like you have to turn it on like iMessage. Like it will say opened or whatever, and then you don't respond. So everyone has been asking me just to clear that up, but that's something that I think.
I did know that because somebody said something to me this summer that I was like not a fan of. And Will's friends were like, oh my God. Because I was like, what am I even supposed to say to this? Yeah. And they were like, oh my God, leave her on red, leave her on red. I totally did. And so then I learned what leave her on red means. And so I was like, oh, I'm cool. I left her on red.
That's so funny.
Okay.
I'm not on Snapchat, so it was hard.
Yes, you are now.
Well, this was really on Instagram. I'm not cool enough for Snapchat, but like it translated enough.
Yeah, to leave
it's
it on
universal for sure.
Yeah.
Shelby, I know everybody's asking you this. Are you interested in following in your mom's footsteps? And are we going to see any more novels out of you?
Yes, I can see the chat. I'm so curious.
Yeah.
So right now, obviously, this was a 2-book deal. So we have a second book on the way. I'm allowed to say that, right?
Yeah.
But then after that, I don't know. I was saying earlier before we went live, I'm taking a lot of English classes right now. I'm taking fiction workshops, poetry workshops, screenwriting, and I'm taking survey of motion pictures. So I sort of think that I might go that route and go more into the TV side of things, producing, etc. So yeah, but we'll see.
Super fun.
Very cool.
I like that.
Okay, Ellen, now it's no secret that you retired from your Nantucket novels. And of course, the world is draped in black.
Oh boy.
So we know we aren't alone in celebrating your return to the page in this new way. Give us a look into the crystal ball. What's the writing future look like for you?
So Shelby and I are writing book 2. We're almost finished. We've got 2 or 3 chapters left. And then, that will go through the process that we all go through, which is editing and copy editing and blah, 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 blah. That will come out this time next year. After that, Mary Kay, I am going to take an actual break.
Okay.
And will I be writing something? Yes, but I'm going to do a little bit of inside baseball here. I am not taking another contract.
Okay.
So the way my career has worked almost from the beginning is that I've been given, 2-book, 4-book deals, and then I have to come up with the ideas. But then once you take the deal, you're on the hook for the book, right?
That's how it
So
works.
yeah. And so I am not taking another contract. I'm going to write at my own pace, at my own leisure, whatever I want to write about. And I have an idea. It's not going to be set on Nantucket, I don't think. I have some ideas for Nantucket summer books that may or may not get written. The idea of going back to that right now is very unattractive to me, although I do have some ideas, but I'm not going to take any more contracts. I've been doing this for 25 years. I need a break where I'm not writing, I'm not touring, I'm not on deadline. I'm not, I just want to read and hang out with my friends and hang out with my kids and cook and just sort of be a person for a little while. But there will be more books, but nothing right now. I'm not taking any more contracts.
I want her to write a college book with me. We'll see how that goes.
That was my next question.
Yeah. Okay. So a college book.
Next question. Sorry.
Well, no. Go, Kristy, go ahead and ask it.
Sorry, yeah.
No. Well, so our next question was, can you give us any sneak peeks into book 2? Kristin and I said, I don't think this is a spoiler. We're dying to know what was in that email. And I mean, obviously don't tell us that, but
there's like a lot of loose ends that need to be tied up.
Yeah, we're super excited. And will there be more than 2 books in this series, just 2 books? And is there any chance for a college collab? Because we'd really be here for that.
Okay, so book 2, what I can tell you about book 2 is at the end of book 1, certain characters leave. So those characters have to be replaced. So there's going to be a few new characters, including 2 new students in book 2. And then, I don't know, Shelby went through Rush at Miami. So this is all very topical, right? Because of Rush talk and everything that's happening with, all the Southern universities are going through Rush right now. And Shelby went through Rush. So at Miami, they do it in the spring. So she went through it in January and she slayed. She got her top sorority. She's so happy. But when she was going through it, I'm like, we should write a novel about this. This is like the craziest situation. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Sheller?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the stories were crazy in high school, but they only get crazier. And so I have been having so much fun and I really want to do it. So we'll see if I can convince her or not.
I don't know.
I love it.
I don't know.
I love it. TBD.
TBD.
All right. This is great. Okay. So we obviously, you guys can see, we have a ton of live questions coming in. So we're going to pull a couple of those. So Kristin, can you pull a question for us from the chat?
Yes. Okay. So Nancy G on YouTube is saying, as a mom, I appreciate the relationship y'all have. With this being an adult novel, were there any scenes that made either of you blush or that we should prepare our bookish aunties for reading?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. I mean, we didn't blush. Shelby and I have like a very super open. We talk about absolutely everything.
Everything.
But bookish aunties, I mean, I succumbed to pressure, I don't know, 10 years ago, because I had some profanity, and Mary Kay, you were with me on this. You didn't buckle to the pressure the way I did. I got so much flack for using profanity that I just stopped using certain words in my summer books, because I was just like, I can't, okay. So I stopped using certain words in my summer books probably 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. But no, they're back. They're back in a lot of adult content in this novel, right, Chel? I mean, that was intentional. It was,
but it's not like crazy.
No, it's not crazy.
It's not like.
Oh no, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it all actually happens at boarding school. So
y'all did a good job. I mean, yeah, it's not like, you know.
Yeah, no, it's not crazy. There are a couple sex scenes, and my philosophy on sex scenes is the less anatomical it is, the better. Like you want to convey desire without getting like gross anatomical, which I never do. So there's just
that's a good way to describe it.
It's not full blown. It's not full blown.
Yeah. You did a good job of that, I think.
Yes.
All right, MKA.
Oh gosh, there's so many good questions.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk about sex scenes, or would you like to choose a question from the chat?
You know my philosophy on sex scenes.
They're your favorite to write?
No, the only thing worse than writing them is rewriting them.
We have this in our group chat. She'll always be like, "Oh God, I've got to do a sex scene now."
Okay, let's see. Gosh, there's so many good ones. Here's Susan G. Well, maybe I'll have somebody else. All right. Melissa Parisi on YouTube wants to know how you came up with the name Tiffin for the Academy.
That was a good one.
So it's a really great question. I don't use it, but in my head, when I was thinking about other schools, the other boarding schools looking at Tiffin, so I wanted Tiffin to be like really like posh and fancy, and I thought, the other school would call it Tiffany, like Tiffany's.
Right.
So then I distilled it to Tiffin, and I have a friend named Tiffin, and I've always loved her. I think it's just the coolest name, and I've always loved her name. So we went with that, and I wanted a T that would go with the thoroughbreds, because we knew we wanted to use the thoroughbreds as the So anyway, that's how we came up with it. And as soon as I thought of it, I'm like, this is so great.
Yeah.
It is great. Okay, so this is from Susan G, and this is really funny. So it's totally unconnected, but random question. Ellen was quoted in the New York Times. What was the decision about nude beaches in Nantucket?
Yeah, so nude beaches were passed, right, Shell?
Yeah, they were.
So they're legal. I've never seen anybody and it's not nude, it's topless. I've never seen anybody. Have you, Shelby, at Nobadeer and stuff, did you see anybody topless?
No, I have not.
No. So it sort of became a nothing burger. Yeah. They okayed it. It was 3 years ago. I remember being a little concerned just because at that point, Shelby was 16. And I thought, how are they going to police like who has their top off and who doesn't? And I didn't want anyone taking pictures of my 16-year-old topless on the beach. And I was like sort of quasi having a freak out. But it ended up not being an issue because nobody felt like taking their top off, apparently.
Yeah, I don't think I was ever planning on doing that.
So see, the things we lose sleep about as parents, that she wasn't going to do that anyway. Yeah. That's so funny. Okay. I second this question. So Jody Elizabeth said, well, I'll sort of take her question and change it a little. So do we have any like TV movie news for the Academy? Anything that we can talk about or no?
We can say it has been optioned. It's in development with a major streamer. We did have an enormous amount of interest right this time last year when it came out. We were on the phone nonstop. We were on the phone with everybody nonstop. So there was a very popular, it was like a little bit of a bidding war, and we ended up with a major streamer. I can't tell you who. They're going to try and announce it before the book comes out, And we have a writer who wrote a show everybody's seen, or almost everybody's seen, working on it. And yeah, so we're hopeful, and they really want it to be multiple seasons, like like a new Gossip Girl, like a new sort of high school show.
I would like that.
I'm very jaded where Hollywood is concerned. Although I will say that earlier today, 5-Star Weekend is being filmed here on Nantucket right now, and with Jennifer Garner and Gemma Chan and Chloe Sevigny. And I was on set at Bartlett Farm just before I came on here. And so that was like something of a dream come true, because I was like, this all, you have 275 people in the big trucks and everything. You're like, this all started with me in my kitchen, like, waiting.
So cool.
So, yeah, it was super gratifying. And I got to talk extensively with Jen Garner, and she's lovely. Lovely.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so great. That's so great. Okay. Well, we could talk to you all night, but we know Shelby probably has things to do, even if the rest of stuff.
Kristy, can I just say though, we just got a question in from Zandria.
Oh, yes.
Which I feel like
yes. Ask,
you want to
please.
go ahead and ask that one? Just because we all love Zandria.
Hi, Zandria. I see her. Hi, funny. Oh.
Kristy, do you want to ask it?
Sure. So, Shelby, what is the best piece of writing advice you got from your mom? What a good question.
Yeah, Zandria's best.
That is a really good question. I mean, I've learned so much. It's not necessarily advice, but just watching her, reading her writing. I've read 18 of her books, so I've read so many to the point where, like, I've seen people say this in the chat, but I think it is hard to like differentiate whose writing is whose, because I think we sound so similar.
Yeah.
And all my friends told me that, like, when the people that have read her books, like when I was writing my college essay, everyone was like, "Did your mom write this?" And I'm like, "No, but thank you." So I think, it's just been observing and learning. One thing I love is the way she writes about food. I've been like doing my poetry and my like imagery and stuff, and I like have been using that like all the time.
So I love that.
Yeah, I love that too.
That's so nice.
Excellent question.
I hope my son says something nice like that. All right. So Ellen and Shelby, if you'd stick around, we have more to talk to you about. But first, a few quick reminders for our listeners and viewers out there.
Absolutely. So for all of you watching and listening, we encourage you to rush out and buy your copies of The Academy. Typically, each week we send you to bookshop.org, which is still a great place to shop for books. But tonight, we are encouraging you to visit Ellen's hometown indie, which of course is the home of Tim Ehrenberg, who you've heard us all gush about before. We all adore him, and it's an incredible store. So Nantucket Book Partners has a special pre-order deal happening for The Academy. While supplies last, you can get your book signed by both Ellen and Shelby, along with an I'd Rather Be Reading Ellen Hilderbrand pouch and a special Tiffin Academy bookmark. Limited quantities remain, so visit nantucketbookpartners.com to place your order now.
Don't forget to visit friendsandfiction.com for details on our show schedule, upcoming in-person events, and links to our merch store, our Substack newsletter sign up, and the award-winning Friends and Fiction Official Book Club with Brenda and Lisa. Speaking of the book club, join them live on Monday, September 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern for a discussion of August Lane with author Regina Black.
And just a reminder, you can read all of our free weekly posts on the Substack website or app. We're subscribed for free to get them directly in your inbox. And if you upgrade to our paid Substack, which costs just $5 a month, which a whole lot of you have done, so thank you for that. You'll have access to deeper dives with all our weekly show guests like Ellen and Shelby, plus monthly roundtable discussions like the 2 recent ones that Meg did on crime fiction and debut novels, plus bonus Q&As with additional authors like the recent ones we ran with Daniel Krauss, Christine Pride, and Joe Piazza. So if you enjoy tuning in for our weekly author interviews, this is a big way you can support us for about $1 a week. So check us out at friendsandfiction.substack.com.
All right. Now back to you, Ellen and Shelby. Can you tell us where we can catch up with you on the road and also where we can connect with you online?
So I go on tour. Shelby and I go on tour this coming week. Where are we today? Today is Wednesday. So I leave Monday, and my tour schedule is in my Instagram and my Facebook. Shelby will be joining me only in Miami. This is breaking news. She was supposed to come to Richmond on Sunday, but college is actually a lot of work, apparently.
Heard
And
that. Yeah.
she's not gonna be able to swing Richmond, so it's just gonna be me in Richmond. Sorry, Richmond. A lot of the events are sold out, but a lot of them, I think some of them still have space. I'm going to like Cincinnati and Kansas City, and I'm going back to Iowa City for the first time since I graduated from Iowa in 1998. And as you know, they did not love my writing when I was at Iowa. I did not have a great experience there. So that's one reason why I haven't gone back for almost 30 years. But I'm very excited. The Writers Workshop has invited me back. Sam Chang's going to be interviewing me. So I'm excited to go back triumphantly to Iowa City. And my Instagram is at Elin Hilderbrand. Shelby's is
Shelby K. Cunningham.
Shelby K. Cunningham. And we are always on Instagram, so that will be how you will reach us, because I'm on it way too much. I'm sure
I'm on it every day.
Shelby's on it all the time too.
Just don't leave us on red. Okay, Ellen and Shelby, thank you so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure talking about this fabulous new book. We cannot wait for everyone to read it. Everybody out there, be sure to tune in next week when Mary Kay and I will welcome Hank Philippi Ryan to discuss her new novel, All This Could Be Yours. It's a great show you're not going to want to miss. It will air on the Friends of Fiction Facebook page and YouTube channel on Wednesday, September 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern, and it will be published to our podcast for your listening pleasure on Friday, September 19th. Thanks to everyone out there for being with us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Friends and Fiction, hosted by New York Times bestselling authors Mary Kay Andrews, Patti Callahan Henry, Kristy Woodson Harvey, and Kristin Harmel. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, subscribe to our Substack newsletter, and catch us on Facebook and YouTube, where a new episode of our show airs every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can also listen to Friends and Fiction wherever you get your podcasts. Find out about all this and more at friendsandfiction.com. We're so glad you're here.